Hey guys, in this lesson we're going to talk about till slips. Now till slips, its another name is a receipt. So here's our first example. Now we're going to go through everything on this till slip, okay? But the first thing I want to let you know is that this till slip uses a 14% VAT rate, okay? I know that at the time of this recording in South Africa we use 15%, but it's okay to still use examples with 14 because some of the till slips are a little bit older because we only recently changed from 14 to 15%, okay? So it doesn't change much. Just remember that some till slips are going to be 14, some are going to be 15. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is this part at the top. That's just the name of the shop. So let's just put here shop name. Okay, now here are all the items that this person purchased. As we can see, if you had to go add all of these numbers together, there are 14 items. Now, have a look here at mangoes. You see, sometimes what they would do is they would have put all three of these together. On some till slips, they do that. And then they'll just say mangoes times 3 or something like that. Okay? But some till slips don't. Here, they also purchased a bag. Sometimes they'll say bag multiplied by 2 instead of having it individual like that. Okay, so that doesn't really matter. There's no rule that says they have to do that. Okay, so let's try see... Let's go. We're going to go through everything here. So we know that this person purchased on the 18th of the first month, so 18th of January 2017 at 10:51. The cashier's name was Lindiwe. And okay, so those are the basic things that you need to know. Now, the more important things is these stars over here. Those stars, a star means that it's a non-VAT item. That means that because some items in our shops have no VAT, so it doesn't really mean anything to you as the person who's paying, but just know that those items have 0 VAT, okay? So let's quickly go add up those numbers that have a star, or those items that have a star. So that's this one, 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 and this one. Just go add those up quickly. Now, if you add them up correctly, you should have gotten 92 Rand and 2 cents. Now, as we can see down here, we've got this row over here, which is 0% VAT, and that's on all the items that are marked with a star. And you can see that it's also 92.02. Then all of the other items, these are all VAT items, okay? And so they would be in this row over here. So let's quickly go add up all the ones that are marked in green, and let's see just to make sure what we get. This is just really good practice so you can understand how all these numbers come together. Okay, and if you do that correctly, you should get 71 Rand and 97 cents. But now here's where learners get confused, okay? That 71 Rand and 97, or these prices over here, they already have the VAT included. These are already the prices with VAT. You don't have to now go and add VAT onto these prices. They already have the VAT included. Okay? So if you add up these two numbers together, then that already has all of the VAT included. This one doesn't, these ones don't have any VAT, but these ones do have VAT, but that price is already included. So if you add those two numbers together, then you should end up with the total of 163.99. Okay, there we go. Now, here's where learners make mistakes. If they are asked to calculate the VAT, they take this number and then they try to work out 14% of that number. But that is not correct. Remember what I've told you in previous lessons. I've told you that to work out VAT, we can use these formulas over here. So remember that these prices that you can see here, the green ones, they already have the VAT. So this number already has the VAT. So to remove the VAT, you must divide by 1.14. So you could say 71.97 divided by 1.14. I'm using 0.14 and not 0.15 because we're using 14% on this till slip. And so that's going to give you 63 Rand and 13 cents. So how much VAT was added on those items? Well, you could say 71.97 minus 63.13, and that'll give you 8.84. And that is where they're telling us that is how much VAT was added. So don't make the wrong don't do the incorrect thing and say 14% of that number, okay? Rather just stick to the formulas that I've already told you to do. Okay, if you say 14% of this number, you're not going to get 8.84. That's a very common mistake. Okay, I see that mistake a lot. Okay, so let's actually go on to the questions now, because I think you understand everything on how it all works. So question A, what do the non-VAT items add up to? Well, the non-VAT items was the 92 Rand and 2 cents. Then it says, what do the VAT items add up to? Well, that was the 71 Rand and 97. And then how much VAT is paid? 8 Rand and 84. Okay, of course we could have just read it off the table, but I wanted you to see exactly how do they get these numbers, because then it just helps you to understand. Okay, so for the rest of this lesson, we're just going to look at a whole lot of different examples of till slips. Okay, so here's another one. So the shop is called Shop and Go. There's their, that was the cashier's name. Here's their telephone number, and they are also using 14% VAT. And then, now here's something interesting. Listen carefully. For this shop, they don't use a star. For this shop, they use hashtags to see which, it says here, if you look here at the bottom, it says 0 rated. Okay, so 0 rated means that there's no tax on those items. So they're using a hashtag instead of a star. Each shop is different, but most shops use a star. Okay, but this one uses a hashtag. Alright, so let's quickly have a look here. See, this shop's a little bit different. They say the carry bag, each one is 39 cents, okay? But two of them, they bought 2 of them. So if you say 2 multiplied by 0.39, then you get 0.78. If you look here, there's fruit chews, like a type of sweet. They each 2 Rand 99, but this person bought 4 of them. And so if you say 4 multiplied by 2 Rand 99, then you get that price over there. And then popcorn, for example. Okay, so we need to go calculate that actually. So there, I've added it in over there. Okay, but let's quickly go have a look. So the first question says, what do the non-VAT items add up to? So non-VAT is only this one over here, and so that's going to be 8 Rand. Okay, now you see this till slip doesn't show it like the previous one did, where it would have showed it over here, but all till slips are different. But you can learn, that's why I'm going to show you quite a few examples in this lesson, so you can learn a little bit from each one. And then it says, what do the VAT items add up to? Well, that's going to be, you see the total, let's just see, the total is 324 Rand. So that 324 Rand is all of these numbers added together, okay? And so we could just say 324 Rand and 89 cents minus the items that don't have any VAT, which is 8 Rand. And if you calculate that, you get 316 Rand. Let's just write it here. 316.89. If you wanted to do that question in a different way, you could have added up all of these numbers and then all of these numbers, and then you'd add up all the numbers except for this one, okay? Because they said, what do the VAT items add up to? Okay, but what I just did is I just took the total minus 8 Rand. Now the next question says, how much VAT is paid? Well, we can see here. Now we can work this out in many ways. We can also just read it off. It says that on the items that do include VAT, they charged us 38 Rand and 92. Just like in the previous lesson, we could have just worked out 8 Rand 84. Okay, so you can read it off. So you can just say 38 Rand and 92. But if you want to have a very good understanding of how they calculate that number, then we can do the following. The VAT items cost 316 Rand and 89 cents. Now remember, that is the price with VAT. So if you want to see the price without VAT, you could remove the VAT by dividing by 1.14. So you could say 316.89 divided by 1.14, and that'll give us 277.97 Rand. So now that is the price of the VAT items without VAT, and so that's the price of all of these ones and these ones without VAT would be 277 Rand and 97. But we know that when they have VAT, it's that. So how much VAT was added? Well, you can just minus those two values. See how we're not including this 8 Rand because that is a non-VAT item. Okay, and if you had to calculate this, you get 38 Rand and 92 cents. See? Same thing. Okay? So how much VAT was paid? And then it just says calculate A. Now A is over here. So it's a popcorn. They pay 32 Rand 97, but that's for 3 popcorns. So for one popcorn, you could say 32.97 divide by 3, and that'll be 10.99 Rand. 10 Rand 99. Okay, so that is the price of one popcorn, and when you buy 3 of them, then it costs that amount over there. So in this till slip, we're using 15% for VAT, and they're using a star. VAT exempted means that there's no VAT. So if you look here, this item over here, no VAT. And then if you look at this item over here, it's got a star. Oh, and this one over here, no VAT. Okay. So let's quickly see, what do all the non-VAT items add up to? So the non-VAT items would be the 74, the 189, and the 12. If we add those together, we get 275 Rand. Okay, what do the VAT items add up to? Well, there's 2 ways that you could do this. You could take the total amount and you could minus those 3 because then all the other numbers are left over. Or you can just go add up all of the VAT items, which would be all of the others. Okay, so if we go add those numbers together, you get 582 Rand and 45 cents. So if you had to add these 2 numbers together, it should give us the total. Let's just do that to make sure we've done this all correctly. Yes, it works perfectly. Question C, determine A. Now here's where learners make a lot of mistakes. Okay, you got to be careful. So it says that the VAT is 15%, and so they want to know how much VAT was charged. So remember, don't include these items over here. They are not part of VAT. So you only look at the items that have VAT, which is 582 Rand and 45 cents. But now wait. A lot of learners, they go work out 15% of that number. But that is not correct. This number already has the VAT. This already includes the VAT. So you mustn't try work out 15% of this number. It doesn't work. You'll see that you're not going to get the correct answer. Okay, so it says here, to remove the VAT, just divide by 1.15. So that's all that you do. You just say 584.45, which already includes the VAT. Then you just take the VAT away, and you see what the price is without the VAT. And that'll be, if you round to 2 decimal places, 506.48 Rand. So here's the price of all the VAT items with VAT, and here's the price of all the VAT items without VAT. So you minus those 2 numbers. So 582.45 minus 506.48. And that'll give us 75 Rand and 97 cents. That is what you should get there, okay? If you're getting a number like 87.36, then you're doing it incorrectly. You need to follow what I'm doing over here, okay? Okay, so over here I'm going to say that it is not, this is correct, that's correct, and it's not 87.37, okay? It's not 87.37. Right, and then the next one says, what is the price of juice? Well, here, if we look on the till slip, there's 3 juices that they purchased for 105 Rand. So they paid 105 Rand for 3 juices. So to work out the price of one juice, you'll just divide that by 3, and that'll give you 35 Rand. 35 Rand. So we can just fill that in over there, 35. Here's our last example, and this one's going to be really cool because I've got a whole bunch of values written down here, but I'm not going to let us see it right. So you know all the values that we sometimes see here where it gives us the VAT items and the non-VAT items and how much tax was charged. We're going to go calculate all of that ourselves, and then once we're done, I'll show you the numbers and I'll show you how they got each of those numbers. Please remember that this question uses 14% VAT. Okay, so it says, what do the non-VAT items add up to? So non-VAT items is all the ones with stars. Okay, I'm just making sure that that's everything. Okay, so you go add all of those together, and you get 32 Rand and 97. 32 Rand 97. Then it says, what do the VAT items add up to? So VAT items would be, let's use a different color. Would be all the other ones. Okay, so you go add, it's not a nice color. Sorry, I'm trying to get it so that you guys can see nicely. Let's try this one. Okay, none of them are that good. But it's pretty much all of these, actually including that one. So it's all of the ones that don't have a star. And then those two, and then that one, okay? So we're going to go add up all of those numbers together. So go ahead and do that. And that should give us 160 Rand and 27 cents. So 160, and then 27 cents. Okay, so what would the total cost be that this person has to pay? Well, it's all of these items plus all of those items. Yeah, but Kevin, what about the VAT? Remember, the prices here, these numbers that you see, they all have VAT included already. And then these numbers, we don't have to worry about VAT because they don't ever have VAT included. Okay, so if you add those two numbers together, so if you just say 32.97 plus 160 point, what was that, a 7 as well, 0.27, you get 193 Rand and 24 cents. So 193 Rand and 24 cents. That is what you would pay for all of these items. Now, how much VAT was added? Now, here's where learners make mistakes. What they do is they take the VAT items. Okay, that part's correct. We must look at the VAT items. I do agree with that. But then they just say 14% of that number. But that's not, and 14% because we're using 14% of here. They just say 14% of that number, but then they never get the correct answer. But remember that that's not the way to do it. Rather use this little thing that I've showed you before. So this number already includes VAT. So to remove the VAT, divide by 1.14. So divide by 1.14. Okay, and that'll be 100. If we round that to 2 decimal places, that'll be 140 Rand and 59 cents. Okay, now this is the price with VAT. This is the price with no VAT. So by minusing those two, we can see how much VAT was added. Yeah, but Kevin, what about this number? Remember, guys, this is a non-VAT item, so we don't look at these ones ever. We only look at the VAT items when calculating our VAT. So if you say 160.27 minus 140.59, that'll give us 19 Rand and 68 cents. That is how much VAT was paid. Now I'm going to do the exciting part where I'm going to take this block away. There's something blocking it here, and we're going to see how we got all these numbers. And so there we go, guys. So the taxable items was 32.97 like we got. That means that those ones have zero tax or VAT because those are non-VAT items. Then the items that have VAT was 140.59, and then we added on the VAT of 19 Rand and 68, and so your total VAT or tax was 19.68. Okay, so if you had to, and then we can also see the total is 193.24. So the total amount, if you want to look at this, it's quite cool. You take all of the items that have no VAT, then you take all the items with VAT, then you add the VAT, and that should give you the total.